Hello everyone, welcome back. Today I want to do a video discussing gender in C-dramas, and I'm talking about the masculine and the feminine, the male and the female. So let's get into it. And I want to start off by saying that I do mostly watch historical romances and Zanzias and also Wushias, so I'm coming from that perspective. I've actually never seen a thriller Chinese drama or anything in the mystery genre, so that's where I'm coming from. And I also want to say that I got this video idea because this year in particular, I've watched a lot of dramas that are in the historical romance genre that focus on the flower, what I call the flower female lead, who is pure spirited. And within this context, this female lead has to be pure spirited because the male lead is pursuing revenge, and she's kind of getting in the way, and romance is then a secondary option. The only show where this doesn't necessarily play a role when the female lead being a flower girl is Tale of Rose. That one is more so, I kind of perceive it as a Mary Sue female lead. She is written to be somebody who is at least perceived as flawless, and so the tragedy of her life, the things that she experiences as a flower, revolve around kind of being surrounded by wasps and creatures that choose to kind of prey upon her sweetness, right? But with the flower girl trope, the pure spirited female lead is often stalked, um, preyed upon by a male lead that has other pursuits, has other focuses aside from her. In Tale of Rose, this focus is Fang Wen, her second relationship and the person that she actually ends up marrying in the show. And his focus is on his career, basically. And although he pursues her before he establishes a career, his entire focus, and it's his entire focus on her being the flower girl, was that she was to be his trophy wife, which isn't something that she wanted to be. And so they don't necessarily work out from that perspective. When you look at it in historical romances or Zanzibar dramas, I'm going to mention Love of Nirvana, for example. The female lead is a flower girl or pure spirited girl because the male lead has something other than her that he's focusing on, as well as the second male lead. Counteracting this with the Tale of Rose and the flower girl trope there, that one is more like Mary Sue. Flower girl trope in Love and Nirvana is more so like, I am actually pure spirited, or the character is actually pure spirited, and so that dictates how the plot goes, the things that the character experiences, things like that. And another drama that is a bit older, Goodbye My Princess, also has the flower girl trope because she is essentially in a gilded cage. In no form, shape, format, whatever, can she escape the fate that has been dictated by her by the screenwriter because of the way the character has been built. It's like the flower girl character cannot escape the fated romance, the doomed romance, whatever. Like, it's kind of impossible, and they're written in that way. And then the male lead in this flower girl trope is often toxic. I've never watched a show where I thought, okay, this female lead is really pure spirited and everything, with a male lead that wasn't borderline villainous. I do think this also applies to Love Between Fairy and Devil, except that's kind of a twist on the flower girl trope. I mean, she literally is an orchid. Like, she literally is a plant, first of all. And second of all, the male lead does start off as a villain, but it eventually kind of veers towards heroism. So that's not really where I'm going with this. More often than not, the way I view the flower girl trope is that it's an unbalanced relationship. Something is really, really off there, and usually these dramas either have open endings, they end really badly, or they end bittersweetly. Like, it's kind of impossible for this to end happily. And I'm talking about like Tale of Rose, especially because Rose is in the title. In the show, yellow is a very like important like a motif that the show is using to signify like sunflower and sunshine and beauty and all this kind of stuff. And that level of perfection or pure spirited likeness in the female lead is problematic because sometimes you look at it and you're like, here I'm looking at this character. Is there a lack of character development? Do I feel that the character has changed over time and things like that? When it comes to Tale of Rose, I did not see that happen because we had to see her progress through her relationships. In Love of Nirvana, the female lead is pretty much the same throughout. Her character doesn't develop, but rather goes through like the motions towards peace. And that's not necessarily a criticism of Love of Nirvana, although I am criticizing Taylor Rose for the same thing, because I think the idea of the pure spiritedness is a bit more clear and upfront and in your face in Love of Nirvana. And even Goodbye My Princess as well, where they both kind of don't have the best endings, and the female leads are basically trapped, right, in this gilded cage where they're like, you must be here, I must protect you, and you're under my trap. But I don't love the flower girl trope because in terms of gender, it does paint a very strict demarcation between the masculine and the feminine. Like, maybe it's because of the dramas I watch, and maybe I need to start watching more BLs because there's not a blend of the genders. There's not a blend of, okay, maybe somebody can act a bit more masculine or a bit more feminine. And you could argue that when they do cross-dressing in C-dramas where the female will dress up as a male, that counts as some sort of gender bending, but it's never really done to the point where I feel like the demarcation has actually been crossed. Especially in historical romances and even further in Zanzibar dramas. But particularly this year, with that trope as well, I have noticed that there's been like a lot of sexual assault happening in Chinese dramas this year as well, like Young and Dream, Are You the One? And I'm just talking about a few scenes where somebody will be trying to like drug a drink, and they usually don't succeed, but it's been very much in my face this year. And with the flower girl trope, obviously that also like puts her in a lot of danger, the level of naivety that she has about those kind of situations. And that was really apparent in Young Andrew, especially because the male lead had to keep protecting the female lead from all the villains. And even Love's Rebellion, which I didn't actually end up finishing, but she also nearly got like basically like date raped basically at a outing that they were at. And I'm just like, the flower girl trope puts the woman in a very, very tough position, and the masculine is then villainized to protect the feminine in a way, and that's kind of how I approach it. And some dramas, do things differently. I'm going to mention Love and Destiny, because they had a character that actually did a gender switch, but the way they portrayed that character and painted that character was not in a way that I think was flattering to her character or to their subplot. I'm gonna actually link the video where I discussed that in the kind of like box below, so you can check it out. But I think one thing I've noticed with T dramas is that gender is very like left and right. Like there are only like black and white. There's no grey. There's no in between. And a lot of that has to do with the dramas I watch, and also censorship. Like if I read more Chinese novels or Chinese web novels, I might see something more blended. But it is something that I've noticed more and more, particularly this year. And I'm mainly talking about Taylor Rose, Love and Nirvana, previously Goodbye My Princess, even things like Young and Dream, Love's Rebellion. As much of it that I watched of Are You the One as well. And I wonder if any of you have also noticed this in C dramas and like what you think about gender in C dramas. Again, I will link the video where I talk about gender in Love and Destiny and my comments on that in like the box below. Let me know if you've like seen that video, if you want to comment about that video in the comments below, or just gender in general in the comments below. If you like my channel, please subscribe. If you like this video, please hit the like button below. Thanks so much for listening. Bye.